Welcome to Through the Net Podcast. I'm Jonah.
And I'm John.
We are doing a little bit of a special episode this time, still with the NBA. City jerseys came out earlier, a little before the season started, and most people didn't like them. I think some of them have grown on me, at least. Some of them are still questionable. This is John's tier list. We're going to start out with. We're doing a tier list on the city jerseys. Which ones do you think stood out, good or bad?
So notice how none of them are in the S tier. I think they were all pretty bad. I did these in comparison to each other. Like a lot of these compared to even last year's City Edition jerseys, they were still bad. I had the Suns Valley jersey and the Utah Jazz jersey in my A tier as the top two jerseys. The Utah one is a throwback. I think they did a good job with the purple and the lettering. I think the way that the mountains are, I think it looks really nice.
I think the only thing keeping it from us is just a lack of teal.
Yeah. It's a little bit too purple, and it's just like, it's blah. Like, it's just a throwback. The Suns one is really nice. I like the way that the colors pop with the purple, and like it's Valley in Spanish. And I like the striping on the side is like a gradient. It's like an orange. And those are the ones I had come up top. And then the B tier, I had 5. So we had the Boston Celtics, the Milwaukee Bucks, the New York Knicks, the Trailblazers, and the Cavs.
The Celtics one is really simple. What did you like about that one?
Yeah. I feel like a lot of the Celtics kind of have the same. All their City Edition jerseys kind of look the same. This one's just worse than normal because it's just, the font is just a little bit weird. It's small. And it's just cream.
I do like, I like the font. I like the hardwood thing because the garden in Boston is really iconic.
Yeah.
Overall, it's just really simple. Just the Celtics motto, pretty much, with jerseys, other than occasionally when they go with their black jerseys.
Yeah. I think they stuck to what they normally do, and it was good. Milwaukee Bucks. This one's controversial. I think the way that it kind of arches is a little bit strange, but the blue doesn't look terrible, and it says Milwaukee on it, and it's readable, so it gets a B from me. Compared to the rest, I think it's not terrible. When we go over the rest, you'll see why. The New York Knicks, this one people didn't like. I think it's got this weird double lettering where it has the white and the orange behind it, which is weird. The court looks terrible, I think.
The court is off.
Yeah.
I really like it. I really like this jersey. I think it could have been S if they just cleaned up the lettering, because if you like pay more attention, like on quick glimpse, it's like, oh, that's a really nice jersey. Then you look closely and it's like, why can I see New York twice?
Yeah, it feels like you're going off center a little bit. But the colors look really good. They pop out a little bit. The Trailblazers, this is one that's kind of grown on me. It's got plaid, and it's got plaid on the stripes, and the shorts kind of look the same with plaid on the sides as well. It says Rip City, and that one's plaid too. The reason it's all plaid is not because they love Christmas so much, but what was his name? The coach is...
I'm not sure.
His name, but he was a big part of the Blazers' finals run in 1977 when we won the championship, and he wore a lot of plaid. And so Dr. Jack Ramsey, that's his name, that was the head coach. He used to wear a lot of plaid, and so that's kind of where they're going for that. I think he passed away recently. So this is kind of a throwback to him and remembering what he did for our team. And so I think the history behind it is something that Portland always does a good job on.
Yeah.
What did we do last year? The PDX carpet. People hated that one, but I thought it was amazing. Before that, we had the Oregon jerseys, which were brown and had like the trees and Native American stuff.
I think if what we could do one time is like an Oregon State flag jersey. I feel like if done right, that could be.
I've seen like concepts of that, and I think it would be neat. But yeah, I think the culture behind this jersey is just super cool. The plaid doesn't look terrible, and the court looks not bad. So that's kind of my take on that one. The Cavaliers, it just says The Land.
It's literally their jersey, just Christmas edition.
Yeah, pretty much. The font is decent. It's a nice font. I just don't know if it's nice on a jersey. And so that's why it's a B tier. And then we have the C tier. These ones were like, they were decent, but they didn't stand out. So I have the Brooklyn Nets, the Charlotte Hornets, the Dallas Mavericks, the Houston Rockets, the Orlando Magic, and the Sacramento Kings. I'm going to start with the Kings one. This one looks odd because their colors are normally purple and gray, but this one's a throwback to, was this
Oscar Robertson?
Yeah.
Cincinnati Royals there.
Yeah. So before they were the Kings, they were the Royals, and they were based in Cincinnati, Ohio. And this is kind of what their jerseys look like, except I think they did a throwback really well. The only reason it's in the C tier is because it just looks weird. And it does not match their jerseys now. But again, it has that history behind it, so that's why it's in the C tier for me. The Magic is just awful, in my opinion. Like, I get what they were going with it. I think it's another throwback, right?
Yeah, it's a throwback, I think, to the Dwight Howard 2010s.
Okay, so 2010s, yeah, it's just like,
We're in the late 2000s.
yeah, it's just weird. It just doesn't click with me. H-Town.
You'll see on my tier list, I have this one a lot higher. I can't really explain why. I think not many teams do like black, gray, and white, and we've seen it go bad. We've seen the Blazers just remove all color in their uniform, and it looks sad. This one just looks better, though. I think it might be the font.
Maybe, yeah. The font is definitely saving it here.
Yeah.
They didn't go with a modern, sans serif type thing. They kind of kept it original, which I think kind of saved this jersey. Houston Rockets. I have no idea what they were doing. You can't even read it, and it's just all white. And it says H-Town. Their other jersey, I think, also said H-Town from last year. The font is just weird, and
it looks more like a college jersey.
Yeah, it's just not the best. Mavericks. This one looks like almost exactly like the one from last year. It's got that same cursive thing, except it just looks slightly worse. And they just didn't do anything.
At least it's not graffiti.
Yeah, it's not the graffiti. Yeah, it could have been a lot worse.
And Luka hated that jersey.
Yeah, I think the fact that it could have been a lot worse, and the fact that we've seen it worse, is why it's in the C tier. Buzz City. All of the Hornets' other jerseys look like that. I think kind of lame. And then the Nets look like a jersey that like a kindergartner would draw, and then like the Nets organization was like, "Oh yeah, good," with like a forced grin, and then they just went with the jersey. I don't know. It looks like a birthday cake, which is funky. Now, I think, what is this?
I think we can only do like a couple of these.
Yeah,
I don't think
because most of the jerseys are in the D and F tier. And let's see, Chicago
isn't just nothing.
It looks like a elementary school jersey.
They had one day left to do the jersey. They completely forgot about it and showed up to work with this.
You can smell those jerseys. They look like the middle school jerseys that like you wear in PE class. Yeah. Denver, the number is the elevation of Denver because they're Mile High City. No, there's absolutely not.
It's just in your face. There's nothing like symbolic about it. It's just, here's a number.
Yeah. Great idea. They didn't put it into context properly. Detroit is just, they didn't even try. They just put it in cursive and then said they were done. New Orleans. Those are the Minnesota Timberwolves colors.
That's Minnesota Timberwolves Halloween game.
Yeah. It looks like Monster Energy. Terrible font. The Clippers, it doesn't even, like, it's so random.
It's so but I like it. It's really simple. I think it would be in C. I think I have it in C. But compared to some of the other jerseys that are here, I think it's fine.
I just don't like the way that, like, think about it from last year. Like, it was that weird, like, Halloween font.
Mm-hmm.
This is, like, their jerseys are just so random and don't have anything to do with the team or anything like that.
I think their best one in recent years was a stained glass one.
That one was cool. That was just, like, 3 years ago?
2 years ago?
Maybe.
I think it was 2.
San Francisco, the Warriors, this one looks like you feel like you are, like, having sight issues.
You took psychedelic stuff from Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. It's, like, it's so trippy. The lettering just didn't fit. It looks like it just didn't fit, so they just kind of curved it. OKC, that one looks like a chips bag, and not the right color.
It's Atlanta.
It's the Atlanta colors.
It's the Hawks.
It's just awful. Minnesota. That looks like a JPEG that they got online. And then we have the San Antonio Spurs that's not their colors either. And you can't read the font.
It's not their colors right now. It's got that, like, I forget what era it was. I think it was 90s or before when they had the Fiesta colors a lot more used.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. I think it looks good on some of their players, like Wemby. I think it looks good, but
it's hit or miss. It's hit or miss.
Yeah.
That's why it's in D. And then we have the fantabulous F tier: Atlanta, Indiana, Los Angeles, Memphis, Miami, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., and Toronto.
All right, which one do you think is the worst out of those F tier?
I'm going to have to say the Indiana one. So that's the second one. Oh my gosh, that looks like a Disney jersey.
It is.
It's a Disney jersey, and the court is horrendous.
It's a Splatoon jersey.
It's blue and yellow, and it's like neon, and like it just pops that you can't even watch a Pacers game.
It's if you mixed Disney Plus with the graffiti,
It's
like toned down
bad.
from the Mavericks old.
Oh my gosh, I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know who approved that, but like, yikes. Atlanta is horrible. Like, that is a Times New Roman font. I think I like the lowercase, but that font is just disgusting. Los Angeles, I get the idea, but the N being the top letter is just bizarre to me.
Mm-hmm.
It just does not look good. Memphis, those are 9 lines. Like, the air vents look like that. It's just so bad. Heat culture, again, they look like PE jerseys from middle school. They're just 2 letters, 2 words.
It looks like a fan concept you would see in, like, just outside the arena and think, maybe I'll get it for, like, my little brother.
Yeah, exactly. City of Brotherly Love. I'm not sure where that comes from, but that's a Philadelphia thing.
It's an old Philadelphia thing. I'm not sure where to read.
You can't read
You
it.
can't read.
It's like a size 2.
brotherly.
Yeah,
And
it's
the number.
yeah,
And it does not look good, specifically on Joel Embiid.
yeah. You cannot read it. You can't see it. The court looks horrendous. And then we have the Washington D.C. This one's a gradient.
What do you think's worse, the jersey or Jordan Poole's playing?
You've seen that edit with Jordan Poole flipping around and then airballing the free pointer?
And you sent me the clip where he, like, gets a guy to, like, he's basically skating, and then he goes for a layup when he has an open mid-range shot and gets sent to the 7th row.
Yeah. It's
It's a rough season for Washington. I think they're they lost. No, they won.
They beat
so they're 3-14.
yeah, so they're the second worst team in the NBA right now. And their jerseys is the second worst jersey in the NBA. And Jordan Poole is probably the worst good player in the NBA.
Number 1 option.
Yes.
in the league.
So rough year for Washington, D.C. Their jerseys,
I
horrific.
think,
That teal and orange, what does that have to do with anything?
I don't know.
And the font is just, you can't read it either. And it just doesn't match anything.
Toronto, I think, is a sleeper for me. I think Toronto's, like, sneakily top 6 worst.
Top 6 worst. Yeah, the jerseys just look like barf.
I think it's for Drake.
Yeah,
You're wrong.
Drake kind of like designed it or something like that.
It's just his color, except that color's an accent.
Yeah.
When you have it as the primary, you see kind of like, oh, it's not, this isn't what it's.
No, it's not. They just completely screwed up. I swear, a lot of these they feel like they didn't have time.
No.
They just like, oh, let's just like throw random stuff together. And so the next one, we have Jonah's.
Orlando, I talked about it a little bit. I don't know why. I think it's the font and the number and just a little bit of Dwight Howard nostalgia that has me up there. New York, it's a throwback to Amari Stoudemire era.
Oh, that's right.
And again, if they cleaned up lettering, I think this is an S tier. It's just outside of it, just because, like, if you focus in, it looks weird.
Yep.
Utah, it's probably the best design here. I think it's between New York and Utah for the best jersey for me. And the B tier, I like the Kings one. And
I respect that.
I think the only thing I can see right here that I would critique is the Nike symbol is way too close to the K.
That's true.
But I like it. I think the number could also be like a little more centered. But overall, I think it's a good concept. Out of all of these, what concept do you think is the worst, and what would you change it?
The concept
of the jersey.
Denver. Oh, I guess the concept, I'm going to go with Indiana. Like, I get you're trying to do the cartoon. Why? Like, why would you ever do that?
So what would you go for Indiana?
Indiana, I don't know. I would do probably, and maybe they've already done this, but the Indy 500 is kind of the only reason.
They've done that.
The only reason people know Indiana is because of the Indy 500. I feel like if there was a way to kind of tie the culture of the Pacers back to like the city in terms of its achievements, I like jerseys like that because they tell a story. Mm-hmm. And jerseys should tell a story. When you're wearing a piece of clothing, and like I just think it should tell a story, and this does not. You just look like you're wearing Disney, and it's just so bad. So bad.
I think they've done NASCAR, I think, a little recently. I think they did it with when Victor Oladipo was still there. So maybe do that again. It's been a few years. If not, go to like a person who grew up in Indiana, like kind of how Toronto did, except don't do what Toronto did.
Yeah. The Nets do, like, they have like homegrown artists that go in and make these designs. I think that's a cool concept. Like, if you have nothing else going on in your town, I think that's a great way to kind of build the culture around your team. Yeah. And so, yeah, your B tier is kind of, why do you have Memphis in the B tier? It looks like an air vent.
It's simple. It's like, I don't know. Some of these I don't know how to explain why I like them. I think it's just, I don't know. If I see it on a player, if I visualize it on a player, I think Jaren Jackson looks good. Ja looks good. Marcus Smart looks good. I think it looks better on a player than it does just as a concept.
They just look like kind of like teeth, you know?
Yeah.
Like a deformed, like a monster. I don't know. San Antonio should not be that high, but I don't know.
The Suns, I think, is the one I'm losing a lot of interest in. Like, I don't like the Suns one as much. It looks like if you dropped Arizona into the Tron universe with the side of it. It doesn't look like it, and it's written in Spanish, but I don't think anything else about it really says like Mexican heritage.
But they didn't bomb it though, you know? Like
they didn't bomb it, that's true. That's why it's still up there.
Yeah.
But I think compared to especially that the Valley they had the past 2 years, and the teal one I think had some elements that are good. I think this is just a step down from their recent designs.
You have a lot in the C tier.
A lot in the C tier. Milwaukee, some people like, it's controversial. It looks like a 1980s skating rink. It's got the green, it's got the weird pattern in the blue.
Off-white.
Yeah, I don't like it that much. Minnesota's fine. It doesn't do anything special.
It looks like a JPEG that they downloaded off the internet.
I think they edited it a little rough, but I think it's fine. Detroit, I might move it down. It's right between C and D for me.
I just don't like how they didn't do anything. They just put it in cursive and then called it a jersey. Like, anyone can do that.
Yeah.
Mavs are mid. Houston's mid.
And then I think there's not really much to say that hasn't already been said about some of the other uniforms.
What about the Blazers? Because I have it in B tier.
The Blazers, I like the front. I don't like they have like on the shoulder blades plaid. I think it just, when you're looking at a player on TV and like they're in the corner or something, it doesn't look natural.
I think it brings the jersey together. Here's the other thing. Some of these jerseys look better or worse with the shorts. So like,
that's true.
Like the Rip City one, it's kind of like, that's kind of weird that you just have plaids. Like, it's Christmas. But then like you have the shorts, which are the same color, and the sides are all plaid, and the front has like the Nike logo or whatever. It looks really nice, like in a uniform. But I get what you're saying. I think the plaid does kind of sometimes have that like off.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. I think we talked about pretty much all of these to the extent we need to. I think for my worst one, I'm going to go with Washington.
Yeah.
And to have the worst jersey the same year you are a bottom 2 team in the league is just rough.
Yeah.
Like the Hornets, when they were tanking for LaMelo, at least had like...
They had cool jerseys.
They had all right jerseys.
It had like the Hornets on it, and it had like a teal, like a darker teal.
Yeah.
It was neat.
But they just have this, where it's basically Game of Thrones, but it's in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
It's literally like fire and ice for
It looks like, yeah.
Game of Thrones.
They were not going anywhere with that.
And then it's got the weird division between the gray and the black.
Yeah.
I just don't... Do you know what the meaning of it?
No, I don't even know if there's anything, because I know like some, like Milwaukee, there was like some, it had to do with like the flag or something, but I couldn't find anything for DC.
It's just bad.
Yeah. That's our tier list.
I think that's our tier list. That's the end of this episode. If you like what you saw, you can keep checking out some other episodes. We have a NFL special with Mason Seal out. We have a few basketball episodes. We have some from last year if you want to even check those out.
Yep, we have our Through the Net basketball line, as well as our special line, and the most recent one, as of this recording, is the NFL one. And they're all available on the WBAN website, and you should go check that out.
And coming up, we have a Premier League episode with Hector, ASB Vice President.
Yeah. All right. Peace.